Talk to me about someone like Tucker Carlson, who seems to have changed his tune entirely when it comes to Qatar.
There is an investigation is going on now by Khalid Al-Hayl Institute. I can't say much about it, but I've been investigating this matter for a very long time, and it was a bit of a strange thing for me and for many others. When you start linking things together and the way he shifted and the timeline, you will understand that Qatar has a big hand on it.
Is Tucker Carlson compromised by Qatar? Take a look at this clip over here where Aaron Molin is speaking to the Qatari opposition leader. So we'll watch this clip together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
Talk to me about why this regime is not legitimate, why they are not what they paint themselves to be in the Western world. And I use the example of the latest peace deal where they painted themselves as these peacemakers that were there to help. When they themselves funded the October 7 attacks, they harboured the leaders of Hamas, yet they pretend to be the ones that care deeply about trying to create peace in a region where they are, on the other side, creating all the chaos.
Let me ask you a question. If there were no Qatar, or there were no Hamas, let's say, will Qatar has any role in any mediation?
No.
The same thing happened with Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and every single terrorist front. Syria, for example. The world was accusing Qatar of funding terrorism in that time, which is Al-Nusra Front. And what happened after that? Qatar promoting them and putting them on the table of Trump. So it's not an accusation, it's a factual information. The Qatari regime existence is based on terrorism. If there is not existing, the Qatari regime is not there. There's no mediation. Let me explain to you how they think. 2010, I was sitting with Tamim and his brother in that time. And one of our drivers from Eritrea, and I want to ask you a question. Have you ever heard of Djibouti and Eritrea conflict?
No.
No. Who on earth care about that? So basically, let me explain to you how Tamim think. We were sitting, Tamim and his brother, and one of the drivers from Eritrea, and he was explaining that they have a conflict, border conflict between Djibouti and Eritrea. Tamim jumped, said, oh, we can solve it. We can solve the problem. He was in that time the crown prince of Qatar. Now Hamas, they saw, okay, so the West, they're giving this case importance. So we have to be there. Every single relationship Qatar had before with any regime, like from Gaddafi regime, Saddam Hussein regime, they just betrayed them. They betrayed them. They betrayed that regimes. Even Gaddafi regime, they were in a strong relationship with them. They were sitting in secret tables. They were making conspiracy against the other GCC countries, and I exposed them. I am the one who leaked the record of Gaddafi, between Gaddafi and the leaders of Qatar. And it's made a big issue in the Middle East in that time, and it was the base of the main conflict in 2014. People forgot. Yes, we played a big role in exposing the Qatari regime. It's in all Arab media mainstreams. You can go there and check that records and see how they operate. So, yes, we did achievements in exposing the regime of Qatar, but they are trying to undermine us in every single movement. They are smart. They're spending their money to do one thing. Example, in the Western America, I was shocked to know a few days ago that they are promoting to some people in America that I am a front for the Qatari regime without saying it. They pay people to say, oh, this guy is being created by the Qatari regime to go and just pretend there is an opposition of Qatar. And that's an absolute bullshit. What they're trying to do is in undermining every single opposition they face. They are hacking people, They are terrorizing people. Even Karim Khan's story, you've seen it in the Karim Khan, the judge in the criminal court. They hacked him. They hacked me. They hacked a lot of their rebels. They have no morals and no ethics.
So, Khalid, you're preaching to the converted with me. I get it entirely. These are the same people, again, who fund terrorism and harbour terrorists. So you don't need to convince me that they are evil. I believe that wholeheartedly. How does it change? And talk to me about the people on the ground in Doha. You look at the Iranian regime, over 80% minimum despise that illegal regime. They are not the legitimate leaders of Iran. Is it a similar situation in Qatar? Do the majority of people want there to be democracy? Do they want their leaders harbouring terrorists?
Let me explain to you the way Qatar operates before we jump into that moment. So Qatar has something called original Qataris and the Qataris, the migrant Qataris who came recently, like 20, 30 years ago. So Qatar, to make balance, to control the country, they replaced the original people with people with outsiders. And what they've done, when the election happened in Qatar, the first democratic election, 2021, which they promised from 2013, the majority of the seats was from so the whole election was based on the original Qataris. They excluded the other people. So when that happened, the majority of the seats gone to the people that oppose the Qatari regime and the Qatari mentality. And what happened after? They canceled the election. They canceled the whole election. Even in the army of Qatar, they intentionally mixing foreigners with the locals because they know for fact that the Qatari people, the original Qatari people, they condemn the Qatari government actions. They are acting solely like it's an absolute monarchy system. So the guy, he decides what's happened. He will decide what's coming up next. The Qatari people are not Muslim Brotherhood. We are not Muslim Brotherhood. We are not Islamist. We are not extremists. It's the regime and their affiliates. That's the problem. So if you talk about legitimacy, let me come back to you and say, my promise to the world, this regime will not stand for long. This regime has an expiry date. They don't know what's coming toward them. They think everything is fine. Renting loyalty and renting influence is temporary. It's for today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow. But things are changing. The world is changing. Money will buy silence for a short period of time. But to stop a terrorist regime like the Qatari regime, you have to go to the source of the issue. They have an enormous access to money, and that's the problem. So if you stop that, you stop terrorism in the world, and it should be controlled. What people need to understand that there is the other side, there is the other voice inside the country. We cannot talk. I am here talking because I am in a different country and I can say what I want to say. The Qatari regime, they terrorizing the people. The former Minister of Justice in Qatar, he's banned from traveling from Doha. He cannot say anything. Most of the people in Qatar, the reformists, they cannot travel outside Doha. Is that a democratic regime? Is that the regime that the West want to put their hand with? They're terrorizing people, putting them in jail for a poetry. One person being jailed for 15 years. And now when he left the country. Is that possible?
Khalid, how does it change? You say that change is coming and they don't know it yet. Tell me how it changes.
We are making the change. We starting now to make the change. We will make a big difference. Our promise to the nation of Qatar that this regime will collapse, will change. The main issue the West is facing now, they fear. that a new regime that comes to Doha might have a conflict with them. It's the opposite. We are the solution. We have no affiliation with extremist or Islamist.
Talk to me about someone like Tucker Carlson, who seems to have changed his tune entirely when it comes to Qatar. And look, I don't know what his arrangements are. I haven't seen any evidence of anything, but there has been a significant change of tune from him when it comes to his narrative and his coverage of Qatar.
There is an investigation is going on now by Khalid Al-Hel Institute, and there's I can't say much about it, but I've been investigating this matter for a very long time, and it was a bit of a strange thing for me and for many others. But when you start linking things together, and the way he shifted, and the timeline, you will understand that Qatar has a big hand on it. And I definitely, I'm very certain, without the core evidence, let's say, but I'm certain.
And we make that very clear, absolutely,
Yeah,
yes, speculation.
yes, but I am certainly sure that they have a hand somehow on that. Because if there were no financial benefit for Tucker Carlson, there wouldn't be a big shift like you saw now. So the issue is he's not only pro-Trump, but he was on the right camp. Qatar recently shifted a lot of people from the right camp to their own camp. And in the near future, we will see what exactly they've been doing. And I'm sure I can't say much, but there is certain things is happening that it will be revealed soon to the world. I'm very sure about that.
I look forward to all of that coming out. We've got to wrap up, but I want to ask you, is there a target on your head? Does the Qatari regime want to get rid of you entirely?
Definitely. They are defamating my character for many years. And they've been attacking me in different ways. In the Arab media, they say he's a pro-Israel puppet. He's a propaganda machine for Israel. For example, within Qatari people, this guy's a puppet for Saudi Arabia or the UAE. In the West, in America, they pay people to say, they are part of our regime, but say it indirectly. So to undermine him and to make people to fear to deal with them. So this is the way they do. But we know all these tactics. It's old story. It's nothing new. We would fight it.
The reason that this matters is because Qatar isn't some neutral Gulf energy partner. It's one of the biggest funders of political Islam on planet Earth. They bankroll Hamas. They host its leadership in Doha. Their media arm, Al Jazeera, has spent decades laundering extremist narratives into Western discourse. And now a Qatari dissident is saying Tucker Carlson has special ties with Qatar. Why? Because Doha wants its fingerprints on American debates. They want respected commentators to normalize them, to spin them as allies, while they financially back the enemies of freedom. That's not friendship, that's manipulation. And here's the bigger point. America should not be supporting Qatar at all, because Qatar funds global instability. It supports Hamas. It shields extremist leaders. It destabilizes allies. And it pours money into media to control how Americans think about the Middle East. Qatar uses our colleges, our news platforms, and our influencers as microphones. They want influence without accountability. That is not an ally. That's a hostile actor wearing a diplomatic mask. And so we cannot let a regime that bankrolls terror buy any respectability in the United States. Our voices are not for sale, our values are not negotiable, and our foreign policy must never be shaped by nations that fund the very extremism that America is fighting. This is the line. If you support freedom, you cannot support Qatar. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.